Alright, so today we're going to be starting our ASMR part of the channel. Gonna eat some cheesesteak grooves, sharp white cheddar. First bite.
Got it!
Alright, welcome back to the channel. It's your guy KappaKai. Today I just wanted to give my thoughts on next gen. It's right around the corner. We've gotten some information from Microsoft, Sony. We're practically already in the next gen for Nintendo because the Wii U was at the start of PS4 or Xbox One. And I'm kind of disappointed with what I've seen so far. Like, this isn't going to be like me ragging on any of these companies. Like, I understand that everything's kind of been set back because of the pandemic, and this year's just been wild, so I totally get that. But even, like, if we're acknowledging that a pandemic's going on, and that's the reason that there's so many issues, like, it's not that consumer friendly to raise the prices of video games $10 like they did with 2K. And 2K, for example, is the same type of game every year. So I really don't understand why that's justified. Like, $10 more? Like, what about, like, when I first started gaming, I was a child, and when I wanted a new game, I had to go trade in my old game. So now you gotta trade in $10 more. Like, I have disposable income, I'm an adult, I can go buy games responsibly every now and then. That's cool. But what about, like, people who can't afford $10 extra? Like, you're kind of just pricing people out of the market. Like, these consoles already are going to be so expensive. Hence why I don't even want to pick one up until, like, it's been out a while. Yeah, like, rumors are, like, 600, 500, 600. Like, I bought a PS4 Pro right when it launched for 400, so I don't understand why the consoles need to jack up 200 just because they added an SSD. Like, use a budget SSD that, like... But I don't design consoles, I'm not an expert on that, so that's cool. Well, the games they showed, like, Xbox just showed off their Series X conference, and niggas was hype, like, Xbox, we finna get Halo Infinite, it's finna be, nah, none of that happened. So, pretty much people were left with kind of a unimpressive Halo Infinite. I thought, honestly, it looked good. I just thought that it was, like, even I noticed it, just, why is there poppin' on a next-gen trailer? Like, we haven't seen this game since that one cutscene. The first time we show gameplay, they're showing, like, poppin' on the open world. What is this, Breath of the Wild? Like, you guys say, oh, the Switch isn't that strong. Like, it's doing the same stuff the Xbox is doing in that instance. Like, it's making a cool open world game that has poppin' and some other issues. Like, I just don't get. And then, like, that Xbox Series, I felt like it was padded with so much of the typical Xbox experience. They did nothing to pull additional people in. They don't want new fans. They don't want more money than what they typically get. Because right now, I feel like all they've done is cater to the people who would have already bought an Xbox, who already would have gotten Game Pass. I tried Game Pass. It was cool. But as, like, a hardcore JRPG, like, action-adventure game, like, anime games, like, Dragon Ball, like, My Hero type of games, like, they didn't have really any of that. Yeah, they had Dragon Quest XI S, but I already played that on the Switch a year ago, and already beat it. And, like, it was already on the PS4, so I really don't understand what's the point of it. But cool. They had cool stuff like Balan Wonderland, but later it was announced that it's coming to everything. That's really cool of Square to do. I just wish that if Square is going to show up at, like, a Microsoft event, they're going to bring a typical Square game. Like, Balan's cool. Like, that could have been in it as well, but, like, couldn't they get, like, can't Microsoft, just, since they have money to throw around, buying studios left and right, why don't they just, like, not even buy anything, just set some money aside to develop some cool JRPG style games, but from a Microsoft type of thing. Like, I don't hate Western RPGs, like Battle Crashers Night War, like early games on the Switch. That was a really fun game to play, and it was a traditional RPG, like turn-based, not any Japanese inspiration at all. It had werewolves, like really, it was based on like a comic and stuff. Like, see, a comic right there. That's different right there. Like, it's not based off a manga. I felt like they really just didn't do anything to cater to new fans, and that's why I felt kind of disappointed. Like, yeah, we were gonna see Halo, but it didn't even look as good as it should. They're counting the SSDs, and it's like, yeah, they need time to develop for stuff and to really show what it can do. But like, Sony showed a first party game with Ratchet and Clank that really did that. Like, it really sold people on what it did. And let me not discredit Microsoft. They did the same thing with the Medium. However, that's not first party. Like, that doesn't have any name recognition. Yes, that did look really good. And for horror fans, that'll be a great pickup. I unfortunately am not, so like this. Another example. I felt like they had a ton of shooters, a ton of great dark games, horror. They did have some like cool games that I'd be interested in, like The Avowed. But all they showed was just like a slight portion of gameplay, like a couple seconds. And if you made that much, why can't you show us like him swing the sword a couple times? Like, but once again, I'm not a developer, so I don't even know if I'm allowed to speak on these things on YouTube. That's how people act. And then let's get to Sony. Like, if they don't have Horizon coming within the first like 6 months of the PlayStation 5, it's like, what's the point of getting it? All you're gonna get is Spider-Man and maybe Ratchet and Clank like in the first like few months as well. But like, Xbox did show a lot of stuff coming to Game Pass and a lot of stuff you can buy, and Sony hasn't as much. So that's one up that they have. But the games that Sony showed, I'm more interested in. And then there's Nintendo. Nintendo this year has been super quiet. I feel like they've been heavily impacted, like by far the most out of all these developers. Like, they can kind of afford to take like a gap year because the Switch is selling like crazy because of Animal Crossing and all the other backlogs and evergreens. And Sony and Microsoft are starting a new gen, so they really have that opportunity. But that's okay. I just wish that Nintendo would just be more transparent. Like, they had to backtrack and say, yeah, you're right. Like, we aren't on schedule. So it's like, why are you saying like, oh no, COVID hasn't impacted us? And like a few months later, you're like, or like a couple days later, you're like, yeah, it is. That doesn't look good. It's like, and to all the people who are so crazy about like, we need a Nintendo Direct. Like, I like Nintendo Directs a lot. Whenever they come out, I'm super hyped, but I don't need one. If they just tweet the games out, if they just say, hey, this is coming out, that's cool. But even if they don't do that, that's cool. I can just wait. Like, 2020 is a wash. Like, there's so much more important stuff going on. Protests, like the pandemic, people losing their lives, people losing their loved ones. Like, that's so much more important than us getting an extra game to play for like 3 months. So I can just wait for 2020 with Nintendo, and then 2021 it'll be dope. I just think next gen is starting weird. Like, even if it wasn't a pandemic, I still feel like it'd be starting weird. Cyberpunk 2077 is getting delayed like crazy, and that's like, they might as well just make the next gen game, but people probably already pre-ordered it on the current system. Oh, and one more thing. With Xbox, it's like, it's not smart to just say, hey, you don't need an Xbox One Series X to play our games. And then people's argument to that is, oh, they don't want to sell you the system that's $600. They want to sell you the Game Pass. Yeah, that's true. But I don't give a fuck about Game Pass. If like Halo Infinite, I have an Xbox One S. I'll probably play that on Xbox One S. I'll probably buy it and then put my Xbox away and play Lost Odyssey or Blue Dragon. The games I actually bought an Xbox One for was their back catalog of RPGs. I do kind of want an Xbox One X or a Series X, because that'll be crazy for this purpose of like up-resing like Final Fantasy 13. I really want to see that, because when that game came out, I thought it looked crazy. That's just a tidbit. Oh, well, that wraps up my thoughts on the next-gen presentations from Sony and Microsoft. Just some quick thoughts. And also just kind of what happened with the Direct. SMT5, SMT Nocturne, I'm so fucking hyped for those. If you like Persona, or if you even don't like Persona because you think it's too weird and kiddie, try SMT. It's the originator. Buy your games. Alright. You got KappaKai? Peace out.